All right, let's talk about Rollins.
I want some nasty. Are we having fun yet?
All right, guys. So today we'll be talking about Ryan Rollins, and I have to say, I'm fairly impressed. Okay, I'm fairly impressed. So we're going to talk about what type of player he is, but before we do that, obviously we got to look at where he's going to land in the draft, more than likely, and then we have to talk about his stats, and then we'll go straight into how I feel about him, what type of player he is, and I'll make a comparison. So let's go ahead and look at where he's going to land. So more than likely, it's looking as if he's going to land in the second round somewhere, and after looking at his game, I think this is pretty fair. You can see here they have him early second round, and most mock drafts have him somewhere in the second round. Okay, so he's definitely one of those guys that's going to get drafted, and whoever get him, I have to say, you're getting a pretty good player. So let's go ahead and go into his stats. So first and foremost, 18.9 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 3.6 assists, 46.8 field goal percentage. Now looking here, one thing that is going to stand out, and I think rightfully so it should stand out, is his 3-point percentage is pretty bad, like pretty awful. Okay, you can see here that it's 31%, but literally if you just look through some of these games, it is pretty abhorrent. Okay, there's none that really stand out that was even one good one. I mean, other than the 3 for 6 that he did, everything else is pretty doggone bad. 2 for 8s, we got some 1 for 7. It is bad. Okay, 3-point shooting is bad, and what makes it even worse is his catch and shoot, I believe, is less than this. So his catch and shoot, I think, is about 30% 3-point percentage. So it's pretty bad. Okay, so that's definitely something he has to work on. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get that out of the way, because we have to talk about what type of player he is. Well, he's a very smooth operator. Okay, he's very crafty. He takes his time, and when he does, he can really make things happen, and that's one thing that I really noticed about him. He's just smooth with the ball. He has good ball handling. He can get to the basket. He's crafty at getting to the basket, and overall he's just a good, smart offensive player. He also gets his teammates involved quite often, and it works out for the better. But overall, he is a very solid, smooth operator. Now with that being said, who does he kind of remind me of? Now when I say this, I don't mean body type at all. Okay, he's actually like 3 inches shorter than the person I'm about to mention, but he actually reminds me of Sean Livingston in a way, where he can kind of create his own shot, you know, if you definitely need it. He can get his teammates involved. He's very crafty, and he's just a smooth operator. Like, it's not really much else to say about that. Now defensively, I will go back to the stats just for a second. Is defensively, he is pretty decent, not necessarily on closeouts or even on ball, but what I've seen is that he's pretty good as far as a help defender and getting within the lanes and getting steals, because you can see here there's a few games where he kind of goes off as far as getting his steals. So we have some 4s here, we have a 5 here, so he can get in those lanes and he can make things happen. But overwhelmingly, he's not a great defender. But overall, look, we're talking about a second round pick, and he has a lot to work on, but overall I do think that he's a smart player. Now here is a big issue that he does have, is while he can get to the paint and he can get around his defenders quite often, one thing that I've noticed is that when he doesn't slow down, it gets pretty bad. So as I said, he's a typically smooth operator where he can try to get to his spots and he takes his time, but every now and then if he feels a little pressure behind him, he will rush a shot, and he doesn't necessarily have to. This is actually just showing a little bit of his playmaking ability right there. But overall, yeah, that's one thing that I think stands out, is that when he tries to rush his shot, it gets a little bit ugly, and it's just a matter of, okay, you might need to slow down. And I think the biggest problem with that isn't necessarily that he doesn't have the right idea, that was just a bad shot necessarily. It seems as if he has a little bit of lack of athleticism. Just a little bit. So I just wanted to point that out, because there are going to be some flaws when you're a second round pick there are going to be a few reasons why you are a second round pick, unless your name is Jalen Williams, because I still don't understand that. But overall, all I'm trying to say is these are some of the things that's going to be a hiccup for him, is that he's going to have to realize that maybe his athleticism isn't necessarily there as far as agility and speed. So he's going to have to slow his game down. But when he does slow his game down, he's a very good operator. He's very smooth and he can make things happen. So let's go ahead and look at pros and cons and see what they have to say about him. So here we go. 6'4", as I said, way under Sean Livingston, who I believe Sean Livingston is like 6'7" guard. So it's a big difference there. But let's go ahead and go through. And yes, projected second round to undrafted. Let's see if I agree or disagree with any of this. Decent scorer off the dribble. Yes. Adequate mid-range shooter. Yes. He's actually a pretty good 3-level shooter. If I just want to add that. He is a 3-level shooter. Excels at scoring on off-ball motion plays. Okay. Decent playmaker. Yes. Moves fairly well off the ball on offense. Yes. Solid rebounder for his size. Actually, dude, I always forget to look into like the 6 rebounds per game. I don't even think about that. Yeah. 6'4", averaging 6 rebounds per game. That's pretty doggone impressive. And let's see here. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. He had a game in which he put up 16 rebounds. Oh my God. Anyways, moving on. Let's see. Adept at collecting steals. Yes, we talked about that. Above average athlete. Yeah. Needs to improve his 3-point shooting. Yes. Prone to hoisting up questionable shots. His effort on defense can be lagging at times. I think that's kind of what I said. Like, I just feel as if on-ball defense isn't necessarily there, and on those closeouts, that might be what they're talking about here. His closeouts aren't the best. Not an elite athlete. Sure. Yeah, that kind of goes with just being an above average athlete. Not a true point guard, but is undersized to play the 2. Yeah, and that's another thing that's going to probably hinder him a little bit. He's a combo guard, okay? He's not necessarily a point guard. Limited experience against top competition. And that is a weird con. I've never seen that con on this website before. I've never seen that con. That is true. That is true. You can see here, that is true. But man, wow. Anyways, here we go. Is an agile, skilled combo guard that can score the basketball in a variety of ways. He'll attack the rim to score the basketball and also can finish plays above the rim. On the other hand, he needs to improve his outside shot, especially from beyond the arc. And he sometimes doesn't give enough effort on the defensive end. Still, he's played very well for Toledo this year, and he currently projects to be a second-round prospect. So I just want to know what you guys think about him. For me, I think that he's solid, okay? I think he actually is a very solid player. And the closest I can think of, and you guys can correct me and tell me who you think, but I feel like he's kind of a Sean Livingston type player, like a guy that maybe if he really works at it down the line, he could be a backup point guard or backup combo guard and really help his team succeed in a limited role. I don't necessarily think he comes into the league and he blows up in the next year, a few years, or anything like that. I just don't necessarily see it because of the lack of athleticism that I've seen. And he got quite a few things to really work on, especially that catch and shoot. I mean, like 30% from catch and shoot is not good. So he has some things to work on, but the talent is definitely there. So let me know what you think. I'll give it to you guys later, man. If you want to support the channel, only $2 per month. Patreon and YouTube members, link in the description. I'll give it to you later. Until next time, deuces.